Hi, this is Melanie from Artifact and Landmark. Today's topic is about Harry Beck and his tragic fall from Pittsburgh's Bluff Street steps. For those not familiar with Pittsburgh, Bluff Street is located south of the Point in the aptly named Bluff neighborhood. Today you'll find Duquesne University, UPMC Mercy Hospital, and a set of steps that takes you from Bluff Street down to 2nd Avenue by the entrance of Armstrong Tunnel. These street steps are one of over 800 staircases found throughout the city of Pittsburgh, totaling about 45,000 individual steps. The Bluff Street steps are just a few blocks from Harry Beck's tragedy that occurred over 125 years ago on December 3rd, 1900. Now, Henry Beck, more commonly called Harry, was the son of William, a founder of Doyle Co, a glassworks in Pittsburgh that operated from about 1867 to 1891. He was the eldest child and had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Harry began life on September 27, 1860, right before the start of the Civil War. According to passport records, he stood at about 5 foot 7.5 inches tall, with gray eyes and light hair. He also seems to closely resemble his father William. Harry's chosen profession was as a glass mold maker, and he was a nephew of a leading independent glass mold maker of the day, Washington Beck. He was close to his family and lived with them, it seemed, most of his life. The family would first live on the south side of Pittsburgh, then they moved to Mifflin to Doyle Street, now known as Doyle Avenue, and then back to the south side. But they would eventually settle at 1501 Bluff Street in 1888, which we believe was the destination of Harry on that fateful day in 1900. Even though Harry lived with his family for most of his life, we do know he did marry. He weds Emma Offner in 1886, but the marriage wouldn't last long. They would divorce in 1891. She claimed desertion in her divorce petition. Emma does remarry, but tragically passes in 1895 of tuberculosis at the age of only 32. So by 1900, Harry would be 39 years old and well established in his career as a mold maker. Now, what we know about the tragedy is that it happened on Monday, December 3rd, 1900, at about 3:10 p.m. By all accounts, the weather is described as cloudy but fair with light winds. The temperature had reached 46 degrees the day before, and so we wouldn't expect any snow to be on the ground or on the stairwell. We also know that it was difficult to get up Bluff Street at the time from 2nd Avenue, so Harry's practical choices would have been limited to the Marion steps. Just a few months before, the dicey but convenient Fort Pitt Incline effectively went out of business. So that's what we do know. What we don't know is what happened prior to the fall. So we, along with those at the time, are left to speculate. Given the time of day, it was believed that he was on his way back home. He most likely either walked or took a railway car from the south side, which would have dropped him off on 2nd Avenue, just below the bluff and at the foot of the 10th Street Bridge. So he would have walked up the Marion Street stairs, which you can see here on this map. For a bit of context, the total elevation from 2nd Avenue to Marion is about 120 feet. In this picture from 1929, you can see the family's house perched on top of the rocky hillside at the corner of Pride Street. It's believed that once Harry arrived at the top of the Marion Street stairs, that he would have stopped to rest against the railing. He would have then lost his balance or footing and started to fall down the rocky hillside. It seems a bit surprising given that he was only about a block away from his home at that point. We also have a witness account. This comes from Joe Leffler that was making his way on 2nd Avenue. He saw Harry tumble down the hill as he attempted to grab anything that could break his fall while he was descending. It's also recounted that unfortunately, when Harry did land, he landed hard on 2nd Avenue. His skull was badly fractured, and it's said that he died almost immediately. Unfortunately, Harry didn't have anything on him that could point to his identity, so it wasn't until 9 p.m. that his brother-in-law, Louis F. Wentz, was able to locate and identify his body. Harry was then brought back to his family home and to his father, William Beck. His ultimate cause of death was recorded as a fractured skull. You might be curious what these steps actually looked like. Luckily, we have a few pictures from the steps just a few blocks down on Chestnut Street, and we'll show you the location here on this map. So we have here the Marion Street steps, and then we have the abandoned Fort Pitt Incline, and then we reach the Chestnut Street steps. Now this picture comes from 1912 and shows 2nd Avenue during its improvements. So of course it's a bit in disarray with the soon-to-be paving stones and terracotta sewer pipes strewn about. To the left, you can see where the stairs ended at the foot of 2nd Avenue, across from the Pennsylvania Door and Sash Company. To get a view of the staircase and hillside, we'll take you to a picture from 1914. You can see the steps and the railing are made of wood. So we'll go into more detail about this part of town and the Port Incline in the next video. So that's it for this episode. Subscribe to learn more about Victorian glassworks, landmarks, and to hear more stories about the families who shaped this industry.